I started making rules when I was about 8 years old. Too young to have the intelligence to make rules for myself. But I remember I was sitting on my front porch in Temple, Texas, about 8 or 9 years old, out on the edge of town. The street in front of us, I don't remember where, it may have not even been paved. I think it was paved because the cemetery was right there in the paved road. But anyway, there was a livery stable about a half a mile from us where everybody kept their horses. You know, lots of people riding horses still. So here's a cowboy riding by me. I'm sitting on the front porch all by myself. I thought, I kind of liked this cowboy riding by. And I said, "Hiya, cowboy." I waved to him, and he got off his horse, walked over to me, and hit me just hard as he could hit me in the jaw. Knocked me down, bloodied my nose. Got on his horse and rode off. I said, you know, this guy was my best friend, I thought. I mean, I didn't know him, but I said, what can I learn from this? And I told myself, you don't make the alligator mad until you've crossed the river. And I wrote that down. And I don't know where I got that. I've heard it said by other people since that time. But I wrote that down. That was the first rule I made myself. Don't make the alligator mad till you've crossed the river. And when I sold my business, 500 years later, I had 109 rules. And I flagged my calendar on my desk for the first working day of each month. And that asterisk on the calendar told me to pull out my left-hand drawer and review my rules. The first rule, rules, I would move a rule up. If I thought 10 was more important than 9, then I would move it up above 9. So rules gravitated up and down on my list. And you're sitting there thinking, this is the craziest guy I ever saw in my life. But it boils down really to one rule. And I don't care what you do or where you are, it boils down to this. It doesn't matter who you are. It only matters who they think you are. If that's not true, why is the advertising business the largest industry in the world? Every place you look, there's advertising. That light bulb there has the name of the company on it. That's called advertising. Women wear lipstick. Why? To improve the quality of the product. If that's not misrepresenting the product, what is? It's called fraud. In the court of law, they comb their hair. I mean, we're all guilty of these things. But once you realize that you need to, in order to survive, you can't do it in today's society on your own. You just can't do it. You depend on other people, whether you like it or not. There are no hermits, I don't think, that live in a cave that can do it all by themselves. My second rule was to try to be positive, and the rule I made is this, and it filtered up from the bottom all the way to number 2. It's better to do it and be sorry you did it than to not do it and be sorry you didn't do it. If you buy that painting and you're sorry you bought it, then you can nearly always bail out, get your money back or most of your money back. But if you don't buy it and you're sorry, and it sells at auction 3 years later for 10 times what you could have had it for, then I remember mistakes I made. I remember I was at a gun show in Waco, Texas, the Texas Gun Collector Show. I was a private or something. I mean, we're talking about in the 1950s. I didn't have any money, but I wanted to collect, and I was walking up and down. All these dealers had their wares out on guns and different things. And there was a presentation pipe tomahawk there. It was been presented to some famous person, and it had a quill stem. It was a beautiful thing. The guy wanted $250 for it. It was worth about $150, but I just didn't have the money to buy that thing. But I held it. I coveted it. I looked at it. I studied it. I smelled of it, and finally I said, I put it down, and started to walk away. And this loud voice behind me, "I'll take it." I turned around, and it was Donald Yenna, an artist from San Antonio. Had a big collection of Indian stuff, famous for his Indian collection. I looked around, and Donald Yenna said, "I'll take it," and he bought that thing. I knew that I'd made a mistake, and I didn't think about it. I mean, I thought about it, but it didn't knock me down until a number of years later, when that thing sold at auction for like $175,000 or something.